You wake up one morning. Your house is standing. The street is solid. Everything looks normal. Then the earth splits open. No warning, no sound. 1 second you have ground beneath your feet, and the next second you're falling into darkness. 40 feet down, 60, 100. Your bedroom disappears, your car vanishes, an entire swimming pool gets swallowed whole. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. Guatemala City, February 2010. A 3-story building drops straight down into a hole so deep you cannot see the bottom. 200 feet of nothing. Tampa, February 2013. A man screams for help from his bedroom. His brother runs to save him, but there is no bedroom anymore. Just a throat of blackness that took everything. 37-year-old Jeff Bush is gone. His body was never recovered. China, May 2022. Scientists descend into a 630-foot pit and find a forest. Ancient trees 131 feet tall, growing in total darkness at the bottom of a sinkhole. What you think you know about sinkholes is wrong. The reason they suddenly open is much more strange than you imagine. If you value documented geological history like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. Also, this script is researched and factual. Using sources from the United States Geological Survey's karst subsidence research published in Circular 968 from 1987, the Communications, Earth and Environment Journal article on North Sea sinkites from July 2025, documenting stratigraphic inversion at unprecedented scales, and the Frontiers in Marine Science study on the Tom Jaw Blue Hole published October 2025, revealing the deepest known underwater sinkhole at 420 meters depth. Now back to the information. Florida sits on limestone, porous rock riddled with cavities. 20% of the United States has soluble bedrock underneath, limestone, dolomite, gypsum, salt beds. Water seeps down, slightly acidic from carbon dioxide. It dissolves the rock, creates voids, caverns, underground rivers. The surface looks fine. Grass, houses, roads, but underneath nothing supports it. The ceiling gets thinner. Soil particles fall through cracks. The void grows upward. Then gravity wins. May 8th, 1981. Winter Park, Florida. May Rose Owens hears her dog barking. There's a hole in her yard, small at first. Then a 40-year-old sycamore tree tilts and vanishes straight down. By noon, the hole is 40 feet wide. Her 3-bedroom house slides toward it. She evacuates, removes her belongings. That afternoon, her house falls into the sinkhole. 5 Porsches from a German auto repair shop follow. A pickup truck with camper top. The Winter Park Municipal Pool, the deep end drops first. Large portions of Denning Drive and West Fairbanks Avenue crumble and fall. By May 9th, the hole measures 350 feet wide and 90 feet deep. 250,000 cubic yards of earth swallowed in one day. Damage totals $4 million. Geologist Jim Jamal calls it the largest sinkhole event witnessed by man as a result of natural geological reasons. Crowds gather. Vendors sell t-shirts that read Sinkhole 81. Food, balloons, souvenirs, a carnival atmosphere. The sinkhole draws international media. 3 national television news networks arrive. Photographers station themselves at the rim documenting history. 3 of the 5 Porsches are eventually recovered with a crane. 2 remain at the bottom. The hole fills with water that summer. Engineers stabilize it by filling the bottom with dirt and concrete. It becomes Lake Rose, named after May Rose Owens. 2 Porsche automobiles and her home still rest 600 feet below. In 1987, the lake bottom suddenly dropped 20 feet, causing erosion on the southern rim. Then, quiet. Diver reports from 2009 suggest the lake has since been used to dispose of unwanted vehicles. The process takes thousands of years to create the void. Then seconds to collapse. Karst terrain covers 35,000 square kilometers of the Philippines, 11.7% of total land area, one of the most extensive karst regions in Asia. October 2025. A magnitude 6.9 earthquake hits northern Cebu. The Mines and Geosciences Bureau region. 7 finds several sinkholes across Medellin, San Remigio, Tabagon, Danbantayan, and Bogo City. Issues subsidence threat advisory. The Bureau has documented 54 sinkholes in El Nido, Palawan, 281 in Siargao Island, over 800 in Boracay. The rock dissolves. Fresh water flowing from surrounding mountains flushes away salt clusters left by receding shorelines. The earth loses underground support. Hollow patches form. They collapse without warning. But human activity accelerates everything. Water table decline, groundwater pumping, construction, mining. The things we do to the earth make sinkholes appear where they might not naturally happen. Or they occur sooner, more abruptly, more catastrophically than under natural conditions. February 2013, Seffner, Florida. 15 miles east of Tampa. Late evening, February 28th. Jeff Bush, 37 years old, sleeps in his bedroom at 240 Faithway Drive. His brother Jeremy is in the house. Around 11 at night, the earth opens. No warning, no crack in the wall, no sagging floor. The bedroom floor collapses. Jeff Bush screams, "Help me! Help me!" Jeremy Bush runs to the bedroom, opens the door, flips on the lights. Everything is gone. The bed, the dresser, the TV. His brother? Just the tip of Jeff's mattress is visible, sinking into the earth. A hole 20 feet wide and 20 feet deep directly beneath where Jeff slept. Jeremy jumps into the hole immediately, starts digging with his hands. Hears his brother yelling for him, calling his name. The floor is still collapsing, dirt still falling. Jeremy doesn't care. He digs. Frantically, desperately. He cannot reach him. Deputy Douglas Duval of Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office arrives, stands at the rim of the sinkhole, reaches down, grabs Jeremy Bush by the hand, pulls him to safety as the floor continues to give way. Jeremy Bush and 4 other people, including a 2-year-old child, escape from the blue one-story 1970s-era home. Jeff Bush's screams stop. Authorities respond, set up equipment. Search and rescue teams assess the situation. The hole is too unstable, too dangerous. The ground is still collapsing. They cannot send anyone down. 3 days later, they call off the search for Jeff Bush's body. The ground is considered too unstable and dangerous to continue. The house is demolished. The sinkhole is filled with crushed rock. Jeff Bush, 36 years old according to some reports, 37 according to others, remains at the bottom. His body was never recovered. August 19th, 2015, the sinkhole reopens. Same location. 240 Faithway Drive, 17 feet wide, 20 feet deep. Hillsborough County bought the property and the home next to it to make sure no one lived too close. Erected double fences around the lot. The same engineering firm that repaired the hole the first time says there is no threat to surrounding homes. What happened is exactly what was designed to happen. The sinkhole was designed to collapse in the same location to prevent spreading. July 10th, 2023. The sinkhole reopens for the 3rd time, 19 feet wide at its largest point. Behind chain link fencing, doing no harm to people or property now, John Paul Lavandera, Division Director for Hillsborough County Code Enforcement, says this is not uncommon. This is Mother Nature. It will probably reopen again in the future. Jeremy Bush visits the site every day. A memorial marks the spot. A plaque honoring Jeffrey Bush sits outside the fence. His name is engraved on a headstone kept at his brother's home. No cemetery plot was necessary. This is his final resting place. I live this nightmare every day, Jeremy Bush says. Every day. I have a hard time sleeping. Just let him be. His final resting place was that sinkhole. It just keeps opening up and they keep adding more dirt on top of him. It is sad to me. Florida has more sinkholes than any state in the nation. The peninsula is comprised of porous carbonate rocks, limestone that stores and moves groundwater. When dirt, clay, or sand on top gets too heavy for the limestone roof, it collapses. Sinkholes are caused naturally but triggered by outside events. Rainfall. Groundwater pumping used to irrigate crops. In 2022, Florida reported 27,000 sinkhole incidents according to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection database. In 2006, more than 2,300 claims were filed for sinkhole damage. By 2010, that number nearly tripled to 6,700. 2010, Dover area, Florida, freeze event. Farmers pump groundwater to record setting lows to irrigate plants for protection from cold. More than 110 sinkholes form, destroy homes, roads, sections of cultivated areas. Dr. Szymon Udowinski, Earth and Environment Professor at Florida International University, says development and construction increase the chances of both ground collapses and sinkholes. In areas with more human activity, we interfere with the subsurface more. The development has been a lot, the growth has been a lot. August 3rd, 2012, early morning hours, Bayou Corn, Louisiana, Assumption Parish, 2 acres between Bayou Corn and Texas. Brine company operations disappear into a watery hole hundreds of feet deep. Nearby residents wake to the gasoline smell of sweet crude oil wafting through streets. The earth is unstable. Gas that previously effervesced the bayou now appears ashore, bubbles up from puddles, through people's lawns. Governor Bobby Jindal orders evacuation on the same day. Affects 350 people residing along Highway 70 between Bayou Corn and Highway 69, June 2012. 2 months earlier, residents of Bayou Corn began noticing unusual phenomena. The ground shakes. Bubbles arise from the water. United States Geological Survey notes increase in seismic activity but cannot point to exact source or cause. Local government sends in experts who suspect natural gas pipeline leak. Assumption proves false. Symptoms worsen toward end of July. Texas brine officially denies the likelihood of sinkhole. In reality, the Oxy 3 cavern over 3,000 feet underground had begun to collapse. The Napoleonville Salt Dome, largest in Louisiana, contains more than 50 caverns operated by different companies. These caverns are created by brine mining operations that inject water into the salt dome in a specified area, dissolves the salt, makes it transportable as brine. The Oxy 3 cavern's proximity to the outer wall of the Napoleonville Salt Dome was not accurate in Texas Brine's official survey from 1982 when the well was first drilled. Reality, the well was less than 100 feet from the outer wall of the dome. At the time, Louisiana regulations did not prohibit drilling so close to the wall. Many other states did. Louisiana adopted stricter salt dome drilling regulations in years following the Bayou Corn sinkhole event. Texas Brine drilled a relief well to investigate, found that the northwestern outer wall of the Napoleonville Salt Dome had collapsed. Salt dome caverns typically fail from the top, so tops of caverns are coated in diesel to prevent erosion and collapse. Walls of caverns don't commonly collapse. Never before had earthquakes heralded the formation of a sinkhole. No precedent for how to handle the situation. What to expect. The sinkhole initially spanned 1 hectare, 2.5 acres. By late February 2014, the sinkhole measured 26 acres and growing. Texas brine burned off 25 million cubic feet of gas attempting to deplete escaping reserves. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientists Kathleen Jones and Ron Bloom analyzed interferometric synthetic aperture radar imagery, acquired during flights of uninhabited airborne vehicle synthetic aperture radar in June 2011 and July 2012. The UAVSAR radar detected precursory ground surface movement up to 10.2 inches more than a month before the sinkhole collapsed in August 2012. Colors represent surface movement with one full color wrap, corresponding to 4.7 inches of displacement. The sinkhole grew to measure about 25 acres and at least 750 feet deep, still growing. By 2024, the sinkhole seems to have stabilized at 37 acres. Mandatory evacuation order was lifted in October 2016. By 2020, the United States Census recorded only 32 residents. Close to 7,000 barrels of oil have been dislodged by the cavern's collapse. A little less than half made its way to the surface, while the rest filled the damaged cavern. Between cancer and combustion, it's close to obvious why the streets of Bayou Corn are empty. An ongoing potential risk, according to Louisiana Department of Natural Resources spokesman. The sinkhole drew comparisons. Journalist Tim Murphy of The Atlantic summarizes, Bayou Corn is the biggest ongoing industrial disaster in the United States you haven't heard of. In 2018, a state judge found that Texas Brine, along with Vulcan Materials and Occidental Chemical, had ignored warnings about the cavern's instability dating back to 1976 and had put economic concerns over environmental and safety concerns. One class action lawsuit led to a proposed $48.1 million settlement in 2014, although some residents felt that legal fees to be awarded, $12.03 million, were too high a percentage of the total. But the mechanism behind sinkholes gets stranger. Dead Sea, border of Israel, West Bank, and Jordan, around 1,400 feet below sea level, lowest area of land on the planet. The sea is dying. First sinkholes discovered in the 1980s. Dozens appeared by the 1990s. Today, new sinkholes appear daily. 400 sinkholes reported every year now, more than one per day. As of 2025, more than 5,500 have been mapped along Israel's coast alone, some measuring 80 feet in diameter. The largest is 30 meters in diameter and 15 meters deep. The formation rate accelerated in past few years to growth rate of about 150 to 200 per year. They spread parallel to general direction of Dead Sea fault system, sinkhole formation, directly related to dropping sea levels. Since 1980, the Dead Sea water level has dropped by about 100 feet, rate of 3 feet a year. The Jordan River traditionally provided about 450 billion gallons, 1.7 billion cubic meters, but now only provides about 20% of that. Water that used to flow from Sea of Galilee was dammed, so almost no water currently flows into Dead Sea. Industrial evaporation for mineral production in both Israel and Jordan. Dead Sea Works factory pumps out seawater to harvest salts and minerals. The region's hot, arid climate fuels high evaporation. Together, these have reduced the lake's surface by roughly a third since mid-century. The water's surface recedes by about 3 feet, 1 meter, per year, according to Hanan Ginat, geologist at Dead Sea and Arava Research Center, which runs under auspices of Israel's Ben Gurion University of the Negev. As shoreline retreats, it leaves behind salt clusters. A 100-foot thick layer of salt formed 10,000 years ago at the end of last ice age. traditionally covered by salt water that protected it against elements. As salt water recedes, the layer is dissolved by fresh water. Fresh groundwater dissolves subsurface salt. When salt is dissolved, cavities are formed and grow until roof cannot stand the weight. Then the sinkhole is formed. The sinkholes can reach up to 82 feet, 25 meters, deep, and 131 feet, 40 meters, in diameter. Nearby holes sometimes join to form giant ones. More than 4,000 sinkholes exist today, mostly on the sea's western shores. Geologist Eli Raz from Dead Sea and Arava Research Center studied the problem in depth, found that many craters developed along seismic fault lines in Jordan Rift Valley. Inside these faults, the dissolved salts are less stable and more susceptible to invading fresh water, which hollows out gaping holes. July 2015, Mineral Beach Resort in Israeli settlement of Mitzpeh Shalom. Sinkhole materializes overnight. Engulfs parking lot, along with treatment rooms and several palm trees. Manager Avi Cohen: "We used to have 250,000 visitors a year, and half a year ago we had to shut the resort down. We are a small kibbutz, and this resort was our supporting pillar economically but also socially. This was a shock for us, but slowly we are picking up the pieces and expect the country to help us out." In 2024, divers documented white smoker brine chimneys on the lake floor. Clusters may flag zones prone to future sinkholes, offering early warning proxy for hazard mapping. About 30% of water level drop is caused by extraction of minerals by potash mining companies. No signs production is about to slow. Environmentalist Gaden Bromberg, Israeli director at EcoPeace Middle East: "It's nature's revenge. These sinkholes are a direct result of inappropriate mismanagement of water resources in the region." Authorities proposed Red Sea Dead Sea conduit, which in addition to providing water to Jordan, Israel, and Palestinian territories, would bring salt water to Dead Sea and generate electricity. First stage of project approved, but the flow from this pipeline won't be enough to stem the Dead Sea's shrinkage. The project may be canceled because of expense, more than $900 million. By 2036, the Dead Sea is predicted to fall additional estimated 25 meters. Guatemala City, May 30th, 2010, tropical storm. Agatha hits Central America. Massive sinkhole crashes into being, about 200 feet deep, swallows entire 3-story building, kills at least one man. Geologists say sinkholes common in certain parts of the world, but this one took even them by surprise. A lot of us who study sinkholes look at this and go, "Wow, it does seem a little bit bizarre," says Randall C. Orndorff, program coordinator with United States Geological Survey. Sinkholes common in places with rocks such as limestone and gypsum that can be naturally dissolved by water. In those karst areas, caves and voids form underground as rocks dissolve. After heavy rains or extreme drought, sinkholes can suddenly form naturally as underground spaces open up and can no longer support land at surface. Human activity such as construction can also lead to same consequence. But geologists familiar with Guatemala say the issue there isn't limestone. The area and city is underlaid by volcanic deposits, and these volcanic deposits make very steep bounded canyons, says William Rose, professor in geological engineering and sciences department at Michigan Technological University. February 2007. A 330-foot sinkhole opened up in Guatemala City also after heavy rains. It was found that it was due to sewer arrangements of city, which had undermined the area. Orndorff says, though more investigation needed, it seems old infrastructure is to blame for recent sinkhole. If you think of sewer or water line, it's a man-made cave. At some point, if they fail, all of soil above it and to surface goes with it. While karst areas most prone to natural sinkholes, infrastructure problems could lead to sinkholes anywhere. The reason I think we're seeing more and more is because our population has grown so much. We're building in karst areas, which are great for farming and agriculture. Now, as cities develop, we're expanding into those areas. May 2022, China. Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region near Pingyi Village and County of Leh. Team of spelunkers from Institute of Karst Geology of China. Geological survey rappels down into giant sinkhole, 630 feet deep. Find 3 separate cave entrances. Growing forest. Well-preserved primitive forest with ancient trees roughly 131 feet tall. Branches stretch upwards, reaching for sunlight that filters through entrance of sinkhole. George Venny, Executive Director of National Cave and Karst Research Institute in the United States. Incredibly visually spectacular karst with enormous sinkholes and giant cave entrances. While sinkhole wasn't surprise, finding the primitive forest inside was. Explorers believe 3 caves discovered are remains of early evolution of sinkhole. It took explorers several hours to explore sinkhole and reach bottom of pit. Returned to surface safely next evening. South China. Karst UNESCO World Heritage Site spreads over Guizhou, Guangxi, Yunnan, and Chongqing provinces and covers 97,125 hectares. Certain areas more prone to depressions because they fall in a region known as South China Karst. When Earth's surface layers begin to collapse into caverns, depressions in ground called sinkholes are created. They happen quickly and without notice. According to a 1997 paper in scientific journal Environmental Geology, human activity like mining of coal, zinc lead, and iron ore deposits in karst areas is associated with formation of sinkholes. Shaozhai Tiankeng, Chongqing, China, the Heavenly Pit. Planet's largest and deepest known sinkhole. Stretches over half a mile wide. Plunges more than 2,172 feet from rim to floor, 626 meters in length, 537 meters in width. Varying depths from 511 to 662 meters, 2,054 feet in length, 1,761 feet in width, depths from 1,677 to 2,169 feet. Doubly nested sinkhole with two distinct bowl-like depressions, discovered by British cavers in 1994, textbook example of karst topography, geological phenomenon driven by gradual dissolution of soluble rocks such as limestone. Over approximately 128,000 years, rainwater slightly acidified by carbon dioxide seeped through fractures in Triassic age limestone carving underground caverns beneath Fengji County. Eventually, cavern roofs collapsed, producing vast chasms seen today. Required perfect conditions: limestone high above sea level, free from clay impurities and abundant monsoon rainfall to fuel continuous erosion. Limestone walls form natural geological timeline, revealing layers that tell stories of Earth's ancient past. Two enormous bowls, stacked vertically inside sinkhole, each dropping over 984 feet, create imposing natural amphitheater. Seasonal rains form temporary waterfalls that cascade down sheer cliffs before vanishing into subterranean streams. Despite dramatic vertical walls and apparent harshness, Shaozhai Tiankeng nurtures surprisingly lush and diverse ecosystem. Sunlight penetrates just enough to sustain dense vegetation including ferns, mosses, and towering ginkgo biloba trees. Biologists identified over 1,285 plant and animal species inhabiting pit, including elusive clouded leopard. Rare feline with global population estimated at fewer than 10,000 individuals. Sinkhole acts as natural greenhouse with stable temperatures and high humidity, creating microclimate distinct from surrounding plateau. River, after traveling some 5.3 miles underground, disappears into Defeng Cave at sinkhole's floor. Plunges over 151-foot waterfall. Continues journey through dark labyrinth below. Underground river system remains one of China's least explored. Speleologists repeatedly face challenges of sudden water surges and treacherous conditions during mapping attempts. Seasonal rainfall directly influences rivers' flow, linking surface weather with subterranean water movement. Researchers use advanced radar probes, microclimate loggers, and isotopic dating techniques to better understand how vast underground system evolved and how it impacts regional groundwater supplies. July 2025. Scientists from University of Manchester discover massive structures beneath North Sea. Study published in Communications, Earth, and Environment. Groundbreaking geological discovery. Lead author, Professor Mads Hughes. This discovery reveals geological process we haven't seen before on this scale. What we found are structures where dense sand has sunk into lighter sediments that floated atop of sand, effectively flipping conventional layers we'd expect to see, and creating huge mounds beneath sea. Researchers call these structures sinkites. Large-scale geological structures that defy expectations by flipping conventional geological layers. Sinkites believed to have formed millions of years ago during late Miocene to Pliocene periods. Seismic events or shifts in underground pressure likely caused sand to liquefy, enabling it to sink through seabed's natural fractures. As sand sank, it displaced lighter, more porous materials beneath it. Term sinkites refers to massive mounds of sand that have mysteriously sunk downward, creating process of stratigraphic inversion. Stratigraphy typically dictates that younger rock formations sit atop older ones. In case of these sinkites, conventional order is reversed. Dense sand formations sunk into lighter, softer materials beneath them, flipping geological layering system. Reversal, not merely small anomaly, occurs on scale never seen before. Some mounds stretch across several kilometers beneath North Sea. Discovery has profound implications for carbon capture and storage. Fluid and sediment migration can occur in ways previously unexpected. Traditional methods of assessing underground reservoirs rely on predictable models of sediment behavior. Discovery of sinkites suggests these models may need reassessment. October 2025, Tom Jaw Blue Hole, Chetumal Bay, Mexico, southeastern tip of Yucatan Peninsula, discovered to be new deepest known underwater sinkhole. reaches depths of at least 420 meters, 1,380 feet. Full depth and biodiversity still under exploration. Translated from Mayan language name, signifies deep water. Surpasses previous record held by Dragon Hole in South China Sea. Exploration involved advanced sonar mapping technologies. Revealed not only vast depth, but presence of unexplored passages and chambers that could host unique marine ecosystems. Depth and complexity mapped using sophisticated sonar equipment. Technology allowed researchers to create detailed maps of Sinkholes' interior, suggesting presence of extensive underwater tunnels and possibly undiscovered species. Sinkholes' formation, thought to be linked to dissolution of carbonate rocks, may offer clues about regional geological history, including impacts of past climate events. Structure of underwater sinkholes could provide invaluable information about Earth's geological processes. Formation linked to dissolution of carbonate rocks and may offer clues about regional geological history. Underwater sinkholes, often referred to as blue holes, form through combination of geological, hydrological, and biological processes. Dissolution of soluble rocks such as limestone dolomite or gypsum is key driver. Seawater infiltrates fractures in these rocks, gradually dissolving them and creating cavities. Microorganisms including bacteria and archaea accelerate this process by producing acidic compounds that enhance rock dissolution. Seawater circulation. As seawater flows through seafloor, it erodes rock and forms caverns or channels. Freshwater interactions. Freshwater from aquifers mixing with seawater can dissolve rock layers, weakening structure and leading to collapses. Movements in Earth's crust, such as earthquakes or volcanic activity, can fracture rocks and create pathways for water infiltration. Crustal fractures allow seawater to dissolve rock more efficiently. Volcanic activity. Newly formed oceanic crust from volcanic activity, often porous and more prone to sinkhole formation. July 2nd, 2015. Scientists report that active pits related to sinkhole collapses and possibly associated with outbursts have been found on Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko by Rosetta space probe. European Space Agency's Rosetta spacecraft first began orbiting Comet in August 2014. Almost immediately, scientists began to wonder about several surprisingly deep, almost perfectly circular pits on Comet's surface. New study based on close-up imagery taken by Rosetta, published in journal Nature. July 2nd, 2015, suggests pits are sinkholes formed when ices beneath Comet's surface sublimate or turn directly to gas. Study reveals surface of 67P Churyumov. Gerasimenko is variable and dynamic, undergoing rapid structural changes as it approaches Sun. Far from simple balls of ice and dust, comets have their own life cycles. Latest findings among first to show in detail how comets change over time. Dennis Bodowitz, assistant research scientist in astronomy at University of Maryland, co-author on study. These strange circular pits are just as deep as they are wide. Rosetta can peer right into them. Pits are large, ranging from tens of meters in diameter up to several hundred meters across. We propose they are sinkholes formed by surface collapse process, very similar to the way sinkholes form here on Earth. Sinkholes occur on Earth when subsurface erosion removes large amount of material beneath surface, creating cavern. Eventually, ceiling of cavern will collapse under its own weight, leaving sinkhole behind. So we already have library of information to help us understand how this process works, which allows us to use these pits to study what lies under Comet's surface. Michael A. Hearn, Distinguished University Professor Emeritus of Astronomy at University of Maryland, co-author on study and principal investigator on Deep Impact Mission. In some sense, these deep sinkholes remind me of crater excavated on Comet Tempel 1 by Deep Impact Mission. Process is completely different, of course, but both allow us to achieve same broad goal of being able to see deeper into Comet. Rosetta's optical spectroscopic and infrared remote imaging system, narrow-angle camera designed to image surface. Team identified 18 nearly circular pits up to 650 feet across on 67P's illuminated northern hemisphere. Two distinct types of pits noted: deep ones with steep sides and jets of gas and dust streaming from sides. Shallower pits that more closely resemble those seen on other comets. Paul Weissman of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. These can't be impact craters because there are too many big ones. Impact craters would leave predictable size distribution. Instead, they appear to be sinkholes responsible for some of Comet's dust jets, which provide some insight into interior of 67P and how Comet has changed over time. Team proposed model for formation of sinkholes on 67P. Team inferred interior of nucleus, approximately 75 to 80% empty space with numerous icy cavern-like pockets. Collapse exposes previously hidden subsurface ices to sun's heat, for first time triggering even more sublimation of these ices and producing outbursts of gas and dust. Deeper pits thought to be relatively new, shallower ones, most likely older sinkholes with more thoroughly eroded sidewalls and bottoms that have been filled in by dust and ice chunks. Comet reached perihelion, closest point to Sun, August 13, 2015. Material ejected and sublimated from 67P has been source of numerous surprises, including observed emissions on night side of Comet and further insight into processes that create Comet's coma. On September 30th, 2016, Rosetta intentionally crashed into surface in Maat region on two-lobed Comet's head. Site contains active pits. Spacecraft beamed back as much data as it could as it careened toward surface, hoping to get close-up images and chemical samples during descent. Sinkholes found in space, on comets, formed by same mechanisms that open the Earth beneath our feet: sublimation, dissolution, collapse. Recent literature reviews published in Oxford Research Encyclopedia of Natural Hazard Science, July 2016, reveal vast majority of damaging sinkholes are induced by human activities: water table decline, water input to ground. The recent scientific literature on sinkholes indicates that water table decline related to aquifer exploitation or to mining-related dewatering is main anthropogenic cause of sinkhole occurrence. Negative impact of groundwater pumping on sinkhole hazard will inevitably continue to increase in near future, especially in dry lands like extensive regions of Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Al Juf region with average annual rainfall below 35 millimeters. Crop fields irrigated with groundwater experienced very rapid expansion. Limited hydrogeological data indicate overexploitation of aquifers with very low recharge, caused decline of around 50 meters in groundwater level. In last few years, increasing number of sinkholes being reported in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Subsidence sinkholes related to karstified carbonate and evaporate bedrock generated by various mechanisms, collapse, sagging suffosion. Inventoried subsidence events show clear spatial association with areas under human pressure, especially irrigated agricultural lands. Konya Basin, Central Anatolia, Turkey. Drop in groundwater level of around 25 meters between 1983 and 2008, accompanied by occurrence of increasing number of sinkholes. Cover collapse, sinkhole in irrigated crop field triggered by groundwater level decline related to pumping in Hotamis Plain, Central Anatolia, Turkey. Sinkhole developed in late Quaternary lacustrine deposits of Konya, Pluvial Lake, underlain by Pliocene limestone. 25 meters in diameter and 36 meters deep at time of formation. In 2009, rapidly enlarged by reactivations in bottom and mass, wasting processes on walls to reach depth of 44 meters and diameter of 47 meters. Primrose Creek, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, USA. 20 years of monitoring, highly monitored hydrologically constrained basin, clear demarcation, geological, structural, and lithologic boundaries, extreme stressor plainly identified, effectively captures all upstream runoff and groundwater. Groundwater withdrawals and water level elevations closely monitored over a period of 20 years. General record of land conditions goes back more than a century. History of carbonate rock quarry, development and expansion over many decades, associated precipitation and groundwater level data. Cover collapse, sinkhole occurrence within basin. Interception of discrete high conductivity zones in Paleozoic carbonate rocks. By quarry expansion, important factor in propagating collapse occurrence. Published June 2024 in Journal. Greater distance of collapse sinkholes from disturbance may not be time-dependent. Multi-decade monitoring record and constrained basin give unique insight to collapses. Weather events may trigger cover collapse sinkholes without being the cause of such. Collapse sinkholes problematic for hazards they bring to property, infrastructure, and human life, but prediction of their formation in time and space remains elusive. Hurricane Milton. October 9th, 2024, hit Sarasota County, southwest Florida as Category 3 storm. Devastating damage expected. 6 million Floridians ordered to evacuate, one of largest evacuation orders since Hurricane Irma in 2017. Following storm, media outlets reported several major ground collapses across the state. Very large ground collapse reported on outskirts of Tampa at intersection of Irish Moss Avenue and Pond Pine Drive on October 10th. Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office urged residents to stay alert as sinkholes can expand without warning in Facebook post. Another incident. Ground collapse caused residential property to partially collapse in Kathleen Polk County in central Florida. Foundations between two homes washed away, leaving 3.6 meter deep hole behind. Officials investigating whether caused by sinkhole or washout from storm. Engineering geologist and subsidence expert David Wilshaw commenting on photos. Collapse on Moss Avenue appeared to be washout caused by surface water scour rather than karst processes. Based upon photographs, portion of road that collapsed was embankment crossing wetland area supported by mechanically stabilized earth walls to either side. Most sinkholes in Florida triggered by subsurface erosion of soil caused by groundwater. Major storm events that hit center of state, such as Helene and Milton in 2024, Irma in 2017, or even start of Florida's rainy season in the month of May, can contribute to higher frequency of ground collapse occurrence. Storm events can accelerate natural flow of water through cavities in limestone bedrock, or lead to leaking broken, overloaded subsurface stormwater pipes. According to research by Ryan Shemet, whose work focused on void formation across Florida, ground collapse sinkholes also more likely to occur either at end of Florida's dry season and at end of rainy season. Florida has semi-tropical climate with distinct dry season from December through May, then rainy season from June through end of November. Onslaught of downpours in last month major contributor to ground collapses reopening. Heavy rain after drought makes ideal conditions for sinkhole activity. Some human collapses, incorrectly labeled as sinkholes, occur due to human activity such as collapse of abandoned mines and salt cavern storage in salt domes. More commonly, collapses occur in urban areas due to water main breaks or sewer collapses when old pipes give way. Can also occur from overpumping and extraction of groundwater and subsurface fluids. Can form when natural water drainage patterns changed and new water diversion systems developed. Some form when land surfaces change, such as when industrial and runoff storage ponds are created. Substantial weight of new material can trigger collapse of roof of existing void or cavity in subsurface, resulting in development of sinkhole. Activities that can accelerate sinkhole collapses include timber removal, ditching, laying pipelines, sewers, water lines, storm drains, and drilling. These activities increase downward movement of water beyond natural rate of groundwater recharge. Increased runoff from impervious surfaces of roads, roofs, and parking lots also accelerate man-induced sinkhole collapses. Some induced sinkholes preceded by warning signs such as cracks, sagging jammed doors, or cracking noises, but others develop with little or no warning. United States Geological Survey estimated cost for repairs of damage arising from karst-related processes as at least $300 million per year over preceding 15 years. Noted, this may be gross underestimate based on inadequate data. Since 1980, United States experienced more than 24 major droughts, resulting in almost 3,000 deaths and economic impacts, exceeding $225 billion. Natural sinkholes potential threat throughout 20% of United States. Florida, Texas, Alabama, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania, most sinkhole prone because of bedrock. Human-induced sinkholes can develop anywhere due to careless practices. 20% of land area in the United States susceptible to sinkhole formation. Evaporates, including limestone carbonate rock and salt beds, underlie 35 to 40% of the United States. When these rocks lie near surface size of cavities, can progress to point that thickness of overlaying material not strong enough to support itself. Sides and roof of cavity cave in creating sinkhole. Collapse can be dramatic and catastrophic. Ground surface above cavity often remains intact, with no visual outward signs that collapse is imminent. You're standing on ground that looks solid. Beneath you could be nothing. A void carved by water over 10,000 years, or created by pumping in 10 years, or drilling in 10 months. The mechanism is always the same. Support disappears. Gravity takes over. The surface that held your weight yesterday cannot hold it today. No warning, no prediction. Winter Park, Tampa, Bayou, Corn, Dead Sea, Guatemala City, China, even on a comet hurtling through space. The ground opens, and what seemed permanent reveals itself as temporary. What seemed solid was always hollow. The latest discovery changes everything we thought we knew. North Sea sinkites, where heavy sinks through light reversing the very order of geological time. Published July 2025. Some of these mounds stretch kilometers across, formed millions of years ago. Sand liquefied by seismic events, sank through natural fractures. Displaced lighter materials, flipped the layers. No one predicted this. No model accounted for it. The implications for carbon storage profound. For understanding Earth's crust fundamental. The structures we thought stable may not be. The methods we use to assess underground reservoirs may be wrong. In Shaozhai, Tiankang continues to evolve. Seasonal waterfalls still cascade down sheer cliffs. River still plunges over 151-foot drop. Underground systems still largely unexplored. Dead Sea sinkholes still forming at rate of more than 1 per day. 400 per year. White smoke or brine chimneys on lake floor may provide early warning. May not. Bayou Corn sinkhole stabilized at 37 acres. Only 32 residents returned by 2020. Jeff Bush's sinkhole at 240 Faithway Drive will open again. Jeremy Bush knows this. Visits every day. Memorial still stands. This is Mother Nature. Florida recorded 27,000 sinkhole incidents in 2022. Number increasing, development increasing, groundwater pumping increasing, the voids keep forming, the earth keeps collapsing, new ones discovered weekly, sometimes daily. You will not know when, you will not know where. The ground beneath your feet right now could be the next to open. The reason sinkholes suddenly appear is not what you imagine. It is exactly what the evidence shows. Dissolution, void formation, ceiling collapse, human interference accelerating natural process, water table decline, construction, mining, pumping, development. We are creating the conditions. Nature is responding. The question is not if more sinkholes will form. The question is where and when, and whether anyone will be standing there when the earth splits open.